Stop calling it empowerment when you mean respect. Why Black women don't need more training, they need your capital. Good evening, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred pause Black women have been waiting for. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French. And tonight, I had the profound honor of sitting down with Olivia Fields, a visionary who's not just rewriting the rules of entrepreneurship, capital, and wealth building. So she's obliterating them. Olivia is transforming entire economies, shifting narratives that have kept Black women locked out of rooms they built, and reminding us all that respect, not rescue, is what unlocks potential. What she shared with me, what we're about to unpack together tonight, it will challenge everything you thought you knew about success, access, and who actually gets to scale their dreams in this world. So let me ask you something. When you hear the word entrepreneur, what comes to mind? Hustle, right? Grind, late nights, early mornings, coffee stained notebooks, bootstraps pulled so tight they're cutting off circulation. Maybe you picture someone clawing their way to the top, scraping together pennies, sacrificing sleep and sanity to build something from nothing. Now, what if I told you that Black women, African women specifically, lead the entire world in female entrepreneurship rates? That's right. The entire world. Women on the continent of Africa are starting businesses at rates that outpace every other demographic on the planet. They are the majority of entrepreneurs in many African nations. They are building, they are creating, they are innovating, they are generating actual revenue, real money, paying customers, proven business models. And yet, here's the part that should make your blood boil. Women led startups, Black women led startups capture just 2 to 3% of global venture capital funding. 2 to 3%. Not because they're not ready, not because they lack vision or skill or grit or business acumen, but because of institutional failure, a systemic, deliberate, structural failure to provide capital, a failure to provide access, a failure to provide respect. Let that sink in for a moment. Olivia Fields told me something that stopped me dead in my tracks. She said the narrative that Black women need more training, more empowerment programs, more workshops, more webinars, more conferences about how to pitch better is a distraction. It's a smokescreen. It's gaslighting dressed up as support. The real barrier, systemic bias in funding and networks. Black women don't need another seminar on how to perfect their elevator pitch. They need investors who show up with checks, not critiques. They need networks that open doors, not just send encouraging emails with no follow through. They need respect, not empowerment, respect, not rescue, respect, not another panel discussion about diversity, respect. Because here's what Olivia shared, and here's what the data confirms with brutal clarity. Over 80% of Black women entrepreneurs start their businesses with personal savings. 80%. They're not waiting for venture capital to notice them. They're not waiting for permission from gatekeepers who wouldn't recognize brilliance if it pitched to them in perfect PowerPoint. They're funding their own dreams because the system has made it devastatingly clear. You're on your own, sis, and they do it anyway. They bootstrap with a resilience that would make anyone else crumble under the weight. But here's the thing that we need to say out loud: resilience should not be a requirement for access. Self reliance is beautiful, it's powerful, it's necessary sometimes, but it shouldn't be the only option when you're trying to scale a business that's already generating revenue, already serving customers, already proving the model works. This is what Olivia calls the sticky middle. You've got a business, you've got customers who love what you do, you've got revenue flowing in, you've proven the concept works, you've done everything the business books told you to do. But when you try to access formal finance, when you try to get into the rooms where capital's distributed like candy to people who look a certain way, went to certain schools, come from certain zip codes, you hit a wall. Not because your business isn't viable, not because your projections are off, not because you don't know what you're doing, but because the gatekeepers don't see you. They don't respect you. They don't believe in you the way they believe in someone who looks different, talks different, comes from different networks. And for Black women, for African women, this sticky middle is where dreams stall. It's where businesses that could transform entire communities, entire economies get stuck because the bridge from revenue to scale is guarded by people who think you need more training instead of more capital. Let me tell you about Rebecca Inunchong. Olivia introduced me to her story, and it's one that every woman in this room, every woman listening right now needs to hear and remember. Rebecca is a Cameroonian American tech entrepreneur who founded Apps Tech back in 1999. 1999, the dot-com era, when women founders were rare as snow in summer, when Black women founders were practically invisible, erased from every narrative about who gets to build the future. She built that company into a global IT firm serving Fortune 500 clients. GE, the World Bank, major multinational corporations that wouldn't exist without the infrastructure she helped build. She did that. But she didn't do it because venture capital rolled out the red carpet and handed her millions. She did it by bootstrapping, by building networks one conversation at a time, by advocating for institutional reform when everyone told her to just be grateful for a seat at the table, by demanding respect, not rescue. Rebecca's mantra, respect, not rescue, became the rallying cry for an entire generation of African women entrepreneurs who are tired, so deeply tired, of being told they need saving when what they really need is access to the same resources everyone else gets without question. And she didn't just build a business, she built a movement. She founded the Africa Business Leaders Alliance. She inspired policy shifts that are still rippling through governments today. She amplified the voices of underrepresented founders who were being silenced by systems that profit from their exclusion. She proved with receipts that when you give Black women capital and respect, they don't just survive, they don't just succeed, they transform entire economies. Now, let's talk about Arlen Hamilton. Olivia shared Arlen's story with me, and honestly, it brought me to tears. It still does every time I think about it. Arlen is a Black queer woman who founded Backstage Capital in 2015. She invests exclusively in underrepresented founders, Black women, LGBTQ founders, people the traditional venture capital world pretends don't exist or aren't worth the risk. But here's the part that should shake you to your core. Arlen started Backstage Capital while she was homeless. She was sleeping on airport floors. She was teaching herself venture capital by reaching out to strangers on Twitter because no one in the industry would give her the time of day. She had no formal training, no Ivy League pedigree, no safety net, no trust fund, no family connections, just vision, just grit, just an unshakable belief that diverse founders deserve a shot, deserve capital, deserve respect. And what did she do? She bootstrapped that fund with personal savings she scraped together. She built networks in the diaspora, across cities, across countries. She targeted the exact pipeline Olivia talks about, revenue to access to scale. And she raised over $25 million. Dollars. She invested in over 200 companies. She proved with data that cannot be argued with that when you invest in Black women, when you invest in people the system overlooks and underestimates, you get outsized returns. Her portfolio includes exits and unicorns, companies that are now household names. She wrote a book called It's About Damn Time. That became a manifesto for a generation. And she shifted the entire conversation in venture capital about who deserves funding and why. Arlen didn't wait for permission. She didn't wait for the system to change or for someone to hand her an invitation. She became the change. She built the table when they wouldn't give her a seat. And that's the energy Olivia is calling us into. That's the energy of the soft girl era. It's not about waiting for approval, it's about building with intention. It's about demanding respect. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to shrink to make others comfortable. Then there's Miata Fambule. Olivia told me about Miata, and her story is a testament to what happens when you turn survival into service. Miata is a Liberian British founder who started Silicon Savannah in 2012 to support African women tech entrepreneurs in Kenya's innovation hub. Miata is a refugee. She survived the Liberian Civil War, witnessed horrors most of us can't imagine, and still chose to build. She built fintech expertise in London, climbed ladders in spaces that didn't want her, and then here's the revolutionary part. She went back to Africa to address the exact barriers Olivia is talking about: the sticky middle, the gap where women have revenue, have customers, have traction, but can't access formal finance because only 37% of African women are banked compared to 48% of men. That's not a skills gap, that's institutional exclusion. Miata leveraged informal savings groups, the kind of rotating savings systems that have sustained Black communities for generations, to provide early capital. She created strategic networks, she built accelerators, and she helped over 100 women led startups scale. She partnered with the African Development Bank. She grew Silicon Savannah into a multi country impact organization. And she influenced policy for formal finance access that's changing lives right now, today, as we speak. Miata didn't just build businesses, she built ecosystems, she built pathways, she built hope where there was none. And here's what all three of these women, Rebecca, Arlen, Miata, have in common: they didn't wait for the system to respect them. They demanded it, they built it, they became it, they refused to accept the narrative that they needed more training when what they really needed was capital, access, and institutional respect. Olivia Fields told me that the biggest lie we've been sold, the most dangerous myth circulating in entrepreneurship circles, is that Black women need more empowerment. We don't need empowerment, we need capital. We need access to the same networks that propel mediocre men to $1 million valuations. We need investors who show up with respect, not rescue missions. We need governments who prioritize policy consistency over performative allyship that looks good in press releases but does nothing for women on the ground. We need institutions that see us as the economic powerhouses we already are, not as charity projects or diversity checkboxes. Because here's the truth that no one wants to say out loud: Black women are already transforming economies. At the grassroots level, in our communities, in our families, in our churches, in our neighborhoods, we are the backbone. We are the builders. We are the ones holding it down when everyone else walks away. And when we get access, when we get capital, when we get the respect we've earned 10 times over, we don't just change our own lives, we change the world. But let's be brutally honest about the data, because the numbers don't lie even when people do. Employment to population ratios for Black women in the US dropped to 57.8% in 2025. Unemployment rose to 6.3%. Economic pressures are pushing more Black women into entrepreneurship out of necessity, not just passion. And when they start those businesses, they're doing it with personal savings, because venture capital isn't an option. Formal finance isn't an option. The system isn't built for them, it was never designed to include them. And yet, they build anyway. That's the resilience Olivia is talking about. That's the power, that's the brilliance that gets overlooked every single day. But resilience alone shouldn't be the price of admission to economic opportunity. Systemic change is what unlocks potential. Institutional respect is what turns revenue into scale. Capital deployment, not another empowerment workshop, is what transforms businesses into generational wealth. So here's what I need you to hear tonight, and I need you to hear it deep in your bones. The soft girl era isn't about giving up. It's not about quitting or checking out or lowering your standards. It's about refusing to play a rigged game by rules that were designed to keep you out. It's about building your own table when they won't give you a seat. It's about demanding capital, not critique, access, not excuses, respect, not rescue. This is your invitation to stop waiting for permission from people who will never give it. This is your call to join one network this week that will break through your access barrier. Reach out to one fund that invests in women who look like you. Connect with one woman who's further along the path and ask her how she did it. Because your business, your dream, your vision, it's not just about you, it's about the generations coming behind you who are watching to see if it's possible. It's about the communities you'll uplift when you scale. It's about the economies you'll transform when you finally get the resources you deserve. You are not too much. You are not asking for too much. You are exactly enough, and the world needs what you're building. So I'm going to leave you with this. Stop asking for empowerment. Start demanding respect. Stop accepting training when what you need is capital. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never designed for your expansion. Build your own ecosystem. Invest in each other. Create the networks that should have existed all along. Become the bridge you needed when you were starting out. Because Black women like Olivia, like Rebecca, like Arlen, like Miata, like you, are already transforming economies. Institutional respect starts with your bold move. It starts with you refusing to wait one more day for someone else's approval. It starts with you knowing that softness is not weakness, rest is not laziness, boundaries are not selfishness, and demanding what you deserve, capital, access, respect, is not too much. This is your soft girl era. This is your time to shift from grinding to grounding, from doing to being, from survival to softness. And that doesn't mean you stop building, it means you build with intention, with boundaries, with joy, with the unshakable knowledge that you are worthy of every resource, every opportunity, every bit of respect you demand. Now go build your empire softly, boldly, unapologetically. And remember it, respect, not rescue, capital, not critique, access, not excuses. The world is waiting for what only you can build.